name's Mariska.
Hi, I'm Hillary.
Hi, I'm Dong.
Hi, my name's Abigail.
Our farm here at Field and Flame. You can also refer back to page 2 of our informational booklet that has the map of all of our farm. So right here we have a couple of the crops that are already growing in, such as sweet corn, sorghum, and wheat, zucchini, garlic, carrots, spinach, and watermelon. And they're also embedded in a little rosemary barrier that hasn't really sprouted in yet. And rosemary is used to keep out a couple of the pests because they don't really like the scent of rosemary, but we will talk more about that in our IPM plans. So some of these are planted really meticulously near each other, such as the garlic and watermelon, and also sweet corn and black-eyed peas, which hasn't sprouted in yet. And there are a couple more combinations of plants too. So what this does for our crops is this actually keeps out a lot of the pests, as sweet corn will attract a couple of the pests, but wheat and sorghum and spinach and stuff will keep out a lot of the pests, or it'll also attract different kinds of pests that are really beneficial for the garden, as it'll eat a lot of the pests that doesn't really do well for our farm. So let me show you around the other parts of our farm. So let's move on to the rest of the farm now. So over here in this backfield is where all of our pigs and cows live, and they live here and they also graze here as well. And we move on to this side of the field. This side of the field is where our dogs and our chickens live. And behind this building over here is the barn and the dog house. We can also move back on over to this wall over here. And this wall is actually our restaurant. So this is where we come together to cook you the most delicious and freshest food in the world. And our menu will be released at the end of the video. So we're going to come on over to this building, and this building is actually split in half. So half of it is our butchering site, which is where we butcher our animals for protein, and we do this as ethically as possible. The other half of the building is actually where we come together to process all of your fruits and vegetables so that they can be clean when they come to you.
Okay, so next off, we're going to the fields, and in the fields we have plants and plants need water. So our water source is the Ogallala aquifer, which is currently being depleted at a really rapid rate. So in order to keep our farm sustainable and farm for a long time, we have to use the water in a sustainable way. So that means to be effective and have enough water for all of our plants. So there are 4 types of irrigation: furrow, flood, spray, and drip irrigation. Furrow is when you dig out channels for the water to flow in. That is the most cheap way to do it, but it's also super ineffective. The next type of irrigation is flood irrigation, and that is when there are 4 types of rotational crops. We will use spray irrigation because we need to till over those crops during the end of the growing seasons. And for the perennial plants, we will use drip irrigation because we don't need to till those over, and they stay in place for a few years. For trees, since they require a lot of water, we'll ensure there's different nozzle heads on the drip irrigation so they get sufficient amount of water.
Okay, hi! So we're gonna talk about our animals. So at our farm, we have cows, pigs, and chickens. So they do live behind this fence right here, but they have tons of area to go roam around. With our cows, we do split them apart from our pigs, and how our cows will graze is by rotational grazing. Once a week, we will move our cows from one area to the other, which you can also see on our page of our map, page 2. And basically, when they graze, once they're done, we like to plant seeds so that once they're finished with the area, their manure and their hooves can trample the seeds into the soil, and all we have to do is just water the grass so that they can regrow. And yeah, so they're very happy. They have lots of area to roam. We are very against CAFO methods. They're always able to walk around freely, and they only stay in the barn when it's rainy weather or some storm comes by. With our pigs, they have a lot of area to roam around in. They have a bunch of mud. They also like to eat some of our waste that we do produce, so that so we don't have to compost as much. We do reuse their manure for fertilizer through our composting again. And one more thing about our cows is that we like to have our cows roam around in our fields after we harvest our vegetation like corn. So what they do is they help us till the ground slightly because we don't practice tilling due to soil erosion. So our cows just help us a little bit, and they also help eat weeds and graze on weeds that we do have so that we can get our soil plot ready for our next crop. And our cows provide butter and milk for our restaurant, and we believe in happy cows equals happier butter and milk. And with our chickens, they're over here. We also have our Great Pyrenees that protect them throughout the day as well. Yeah, so during the night, the Great Pyrenees we like to put them next to the chicken coop in order to prevent coyotes from coming in. With our chickens, we do like to practice intergrazing. So let's say we plant corn, and we like to have our chickens run around so that they can eat any pests like worms or other things like that from degrading our vegetation. And when they do roam around as well, their manure also fertilizes the plants, and they do again get lots of room to run around. They provide eggs for our restaurant, and yeah.
Here at Field and Flames, we employ like no-till and like low plowing methods of farming, because plowing and tilling can lead to erosion, loss of microbial life, and also like carbon emissions when carbon is released from the soil when you till. So some examples of how we mitigate these effects are sweet corn. We employ like direct seeding methods, so we disturb the soil less. And for sorghum and black-eyed peas, we will grow them with mulch, which covers the soil and prevents erosion. Okay, so for zucchini, we're gonna employ like low tilling methods to leave the soil undisturbed to prepare the plant rows.
I'll be talking about our farm soil health. We will maintain our farm soil health by using these 3 methods to enhance organic matter and reduce erosion. First up, we have crop rotation. We will rotate legumes like black-eyed peas with grains like wheat and sorghum to naturally replenish soil nitrogen. We will also plant cover crops. By planting winter wheat or alfalfa as cover crops to cover the soil, it will help prevent erosion and also stabilize the soil structure during off seasons. Lastly, we will have mulching. By using farm waste like corn husk and zucchini leaves to cover the soil, we can conserve moisture and also prevent weed growth. Next, I'll be talking about our farm's fertilizers. Runoff from nitrogen-based fertilizers can lead to water contamination, and long-term use depletes soil health. So at our farm, we'll be using these 3 natural fertilizer ways instead: composting, lagoon, and manure management. First up, composting. At our farm, organic waste such as zucchini leaves and corn husks will be composted to create nutrient-rich soil amendments. Next, we have legume nitrogen fixation. Black-eyed peas naturally fix atmospheric nitrogen, so it reduces the need for synthetic fertilizers. Lastly, we have manure management. At our farm, we incorporate manure from our cows, pigs, and chicken as natural fertilizer for our crops. Additionally, sorghum stalks can be left out in the field to decompose, adding organic matter into the soil.
A lot of farms employ slash and burning to like clear out their farms and crops when like the end of the growing season. So this can lead to the loss of biodiversity when you clear out the ecosystem when you burn it, and it can also leave the soil dry and like remove the nutrients. And lastly, it can also release a lot of CO2 when the smoke goes up into the air. So at Field and Flame, we use IPM to mitigate these effects.
Now I'll share how we deal with 3 big challenges against natural disasters in soil: droughts, flooding, and pests. Let's start with droughts. When water is hard to come by, we grow crops like sorghum and alfalfa because they don't need much water to thrive. We also rotate where animals graze and plant cover crops. These practices improve the soil, helping it hold on to water longer. That means our crops and pastures can survive dry spells without needing tons of irrigation. Next up, flooding. Too much rain can disturb the soil, but we keep it stable by using no-till farming. That means we don't dig up the soil, so it maintains a stable structure. We also plant deep-rooted perennials like asparagus and sage, which helps water absorb and infiltrate into the soil. So even after a heavy storm, we can maintain our farm's productivity because the soil stays healthy and we avoid nutrient bleaching, surface runoff, waterlogging, and just erosion in general. And then there are pests. Instead of spraying chemicals, we use IPM. We do intercropping, planting crops that naturally keep pests away, like sweet corn near the black-eyed peas and garlic near the carrots. The peas presents deters pests from the corn, and the garlic repels pests that harm carrots. Also, our rosemary that surrounds the perimeter of our crops acts like a natural barrier. We also encourage biodiversity by maintaining habitats for beneficial insects such as ladybugs and bees that keep the pests in check. It's all about creating balance so pests don't take over. With these IPM methods, we decrease the chances of widespread crop damage from pest infestations. So by building healthier soil, planting smarter, and working with nature, we've made our farm stronger against droughts, floods, and pests. Farming sustainably reduces the farm's overall risk of failure from climate events, ensuring long-term stability and productivity.
Significant benefits and consequences of the Green Revolution. Such benefits include increased food production, high-yield crops boosted out staples such as wheat, rice, and maize, and the modernization of advances in irrigation such as fertilizers, pesticides, and modernized agriculture. Nevertheless, such consequences include environmental harm, the overuse of chemicals, degraded soil, polluted water, and reduced biodiversity, and water shortages as well, since such intensive irrigation drained water resources nearby. Health risks include chemical exposure and posed health dangers to farmers and communities worldwide. Benefits and consequences of GMOs include higher yields, more food per acre. Pest resistance reduces pesticides by making plants pest resistant, and nutritional fruits and vegetation. Nevertheless, such consequences remain environmental risks such as cross-pollination and the loss of crop diversity. Resistance issues such as pests and weeds may adapt over time. Reasons we do not use GMOs on our farm. Significantly, we do not use GMOs on our farm due to environmental concerns such as cross-pollination, reducing biodiversity, and the risk of pests and weeds developing resistance to GMO traits. Efficiency and impact of mechanization on fossil fuels. Efficiency gains. Mechanization reduces labor costs and saves us time, making vast-scale farming possible with machines such as tractors and irrigation pumps. Fossil fuel impacts. Farm machinery and fertilizer production rely on fossil fuels, contributing to greenhouse gas emissions, which contribute to climate change. Minimizing fossil fuel impacts. Specifically, we minimize our fossil fuel impacts by rotating our crops and using our cover crops to reduce synthetic inputs. Crop rotation keeps our soil healthy and reduces the need for chemical fertilizers. Cover crops improve soil, prevent erosion, and control the weeds, cutting down synthetic herbicides. These practices save energy and support sustainable farming on our farm. Now we're here at our restaurant, and now let me tell you about our menu. For our summer breakfast menu, we have sausage zucchini frittata, and for our dinner, we have chicken and sorghum pilaf. For our winter menu, we have thyme-infused cornbread, and for breakfast, and braised pork belly with cabbage. Though 85% of our menu come freshly ground and raised from our farm, we also trade with nearby farms, and the rest of the ingredients, such as fruit sausage, used.
That concludes the rest of our video. Thank you so much for coming to our farm, and I hope we see you in the future.